Tania, thank you so much for being available for a couple of questions. It's been really great to hear you today, your presentations, being part of the panel, and really great to be with you now. So I had a couple of questions. One is regarding, say, indigenous practices, and are there any lessons that Europe can draw from indigenous knowledge and practices surrounding psychedelics?
I think. Thank you. Firstly, thank you for the question. I am firstly a medical anthropologist, so I learn the importance of teaching plants like ayahuasca and the importance of mushroom, not outside of the indigenous communities. I had my first experience with these plants. I had this wonderful opportunity to be with the indigenous community and to share with them the deep meaning of this process, of this ritual. These plants are considered medicine in the sense the medicine is not just for the body, but is for the emotional part, for the mental part, and for the spiritual part. So plants and mushroom are alive, are us. So are us as human beings. So this is why there is a profound meaning in the process. That usually is with the community. For ayahuasca, there is a ritual for the community, and the shaman or curandero is a medical doctor. And to become a curandero, you have to learn like a medical doctor in Western countries. So you have to recognize the plants, you have to make a diet with the plant, you have to be in relation with the plant, you have to recognize not just ayahuasca, but all the plants, because we know just ayahuasca, but there are many, like thousands of plants that are useful for people. So a shamanism, in some way, is a medical doctor who take care not just for your body, but for your mind and your spirit. So what is important, firstly, so the first lesson, as you asked me, is that you have to learn this word, this plant word. It's not just to give something, to give a pill. And I think that even if we move to another context, like our Western context, we understand that this shamanic context is another context. But what is important, I think, is that even if it's not a shaman, but is necessary a part that it can be a psychotherapist, a medical doctor, someone who knows the process. So the preparation, the session, and the integration is part of the same process. And the not ordinary state of consciousness that at the end of life or with a person with depression, it's important that we don't focus just on the disease. Yes, we have to consider the disease, but we have also to consider that what is the journey the person is doing. And the integration, because this morning we had this session of end of life and psychedelics. And there was the experience of Andrea. Andrea was diagnosed with 4-stage cancer, and for him was the first experience with LSD. And he discovered he had this experience that is part of this life is just one of the multiple lives. And so after the journey, he start to share with his family, with his kids, this experience, and the possibility to talk about death. And this is what the indigenous shaman, they told you. So ayahuasca is not a plant for a journey, is a plant of death, is a death plant. So it's a plant who teach you how to learn to die. And so I think this is the profound meaning that we have to take into consideration, and not just to avoid or to say it's just some exotic stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if I answer.
You did. You did. And another question. This is more geared towards pleasure and bliss. And the question is, how can therapists navigate the fine line between the therapeutic benefits of psychedelics, which often induce states of extreme pleasure and bliss, and how can they navigate this with the potential risk of patients becoming overly attached to these states of bliss? And so the question is, can pleasure be a constructive element in therapy, or should it be carefully managed to avoid, for example, overshadowing the therapeutical benefits?
Mm-hmm. Okay. If we consider the experience that people share, they say the experience are shaking experiences. So, firstly, psychedelics are not addictive, particularly LSD and psilocybin. So, if you have a session, usually people, they don't ask for a second session. Because it's very strong what happened during the session. It can be related to pleasure, but sometimes there are also some unpleasant meetings, or you have to face with, I don't know, with some trauma or something who happened when you were a child. So, in my experience, and also it's reported in literature, usually people, they don't ask to have many sessions. We know that for ketamine and also for MDMA, we must be very focused, because ketamine outside of a therapeutical setting, we know that can be addictive, and also MDMA. So this is why, even if we understand that the possibility to explore consciousness must be a human right for all the people, we have also to consider that these are substances that are very powerful. So, like a beautiful car with very high speeds, you have to learn how to drive. So, I think this, we have to take into consideration this.
And I think in your answer, I also see a connection to the importance of the integration phase, meaning to not attach oneself to only to the experience, which can be difficult, clearly, but often has these moments of bliss and these moments of extreme pleasure. But through integration, this is how you then bring it back down to your day-to-day life. This is how you then basically bring what you acquire in those altered states of consciousness back into your daily life.
I think an example, I don't know if you like flying with a plane, but after a long fly, you have to land. And so the integration is a landing process. So you have to come back with your family, with if there is a disease in some way you have to face, if there is like in the experience that I told you before with Andrea. So the cancer is still there, but what is important is the difference, how to face the disease, and so I think the good example of landing as so the integration is come back to the earth and with this beautiful experience, stay in the sky, see the clouds, but it's important to come back.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Tania.
Thank you to you.